And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 783. Spite is ruining media. Oh no, sorry for joining so late, but we are a little disorganized figuring out who's going to be on. We finally got more than two, so here we are. This is a video from mjtanner. I was going to say MT Tanner, but it's mjtanner. This came out last month in May. And this has almost 90,000 views for a 52,000 sub channel. I don't know what to expect. Is it the spite of the fans? Is it the spite of the creators? Is it the producers? Is it the content itself which is spiteful? I'm not sure.
I'm given by the thumbnail, I'm going to assume it has to do with the content because it looks like it's going to talk about that. I'd say conservative, but it comes across more as a mockery of conservatism that the Daily Wire put out. Funny enough, it was originally pitched to Fox, so that's probably what it is. But it's a very spiteful show. Like, as Velma's on there, and it was made out of spite. First Scooby-Doo and adult, anyone of human decency. Literally nobody likes Velma.
Yeah, and so was I'm Not Starfire and all these other things written by borderliners.
Like it's
they're all self-inserts. They're all self-inserts of narcissistic borderline psychopaths.
Yeah, it's like, these are things that are made out of spite to elicit a negative reaction out of people because that's the only way they can get people talking about it.
Not just that. The people who self-insert, because these are the main characters are the writers.
Right.
In all cases. And they live in a world where they are above everything. They are always right, and the world is wrong, and so they are justified to be condescending and mean and sadistic to everything and everyone. And that's what we see. This is their power fantasy. This is always the power fantasy of the writer.
It's kind of sad because I do actually know stories that they're nonsensical by authors I know are brilliant, and they just hate something. It's not like they personally hate things as if they want to get back at them or something. They just dislike a thing, so they're just going to attack it for no other reason to write a story like that. And I always bring up Harlan Ellison's story in his Deathbird stories, which is an anthology of just great books or great little stories. And I can't remember the title because he always works with the title of Stone. I think this is called Bleeding Stones or Basilisk or something. I think it was Bleeding Stones. And all it is a bunch of gargoyles come alive in Manhattan or New York or one of those cities with all the gargoyle statuettes, and they just kill everyone. And the people they kill are all the religious people first. And they all pray to God and they get destroyed. And that's the story. There's nothing else going on in this story. So
That's
it's a fetish fantasy.
I
That
guess.
really just sounds like r/atheism's wet dream.
It's funny because every other story in that book is amazingly brilliant in its own way, and that's the only one that even my left-leaning friend Jordan, who introduced me and we did the book talk, he was even that one. He's like, that's not a good story. Something's wrong with this thing.
These kind of stories are made and written to elicit negative reactions to get people talking about it because that's the only way they stay relevant. Upper Echelon did a video, I believe it was called The Company or the Studio That Is Ruining Hollywood or something like that. TLDR it's a company called Parrot Media where it doesn't matter how good the ratings of a show are, so long as people are talking about it, they're going to support it, and that's how we wound up with a second season of Velma.
Yeah, the new stuff that we've been getting the past, it's been 13, 14 years. I'm trying to remember, like Thundercats Go and all these other weird, badly drawn, badly acted, badly joked stories.
Yeah, like the hate makes them stronger is the best way to describe it.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what to expect with this exactly, but if we're talking about Velma, I mean, that's going to be very painful just to sit through. I'm sure I've seen clips. And I'm like, I never want to watch this. So
all I know is at the end of season 2, Scrappy Doo kills her.
What?
Which redeems Scrappy Doo.
In a way, that's kind of funny.
That is, I mean, that's what you expect from an adult story of something happening that's bad, someone has to die. And if that's the case, that's crazy.
I'm
parts of
not gonna lie, that's actually a little funny.
the best parts of Velma are supposedly the ones where she's suffering. So yeah, take that as you will.
Interesting.
I mean, it's written by Mandy Kalig, so again, take that for what you will.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we got for 10 minutes and a half from mjtanner. Or mjtanner. I don't know, like my brain goes there.
Dear HBO Max, learned you intend to make a genre-bending comedic origin story of Judy Jetson. When I heard this new version of Judy Jetson wouldn't be boy crazy, the only word I had to describe my disgust is jinkies. If there is one thing the internet agrees on, it's that you should never change anything ever. I hope you die. Sincerely,
Wow.
Velma.
What?
That was a clip from the first teaser trailer for Velma.
My God, that's
That by itself is so far removed from the original character.
That may as well just be an alternate universe.
Original character.
that's literally
This
just
is-
meant to reflect internet critics. That's just made to reflect the critics. It's a straw man argument. You want a made up argument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can all agree that's horrible. Just keep going.
Even
Yes.
the person we're talking about says that's horrible, and they're right.
Yeah.
Last
We don't
year,
want things
we're trying
changed
to
for
get-
the worse, which is what these ideologues always do. And it doesn't matter whether they're the socialists or whether they're the Christians from the 90s. They did the same stuff, just in a everything needs to be Jesus way.
Yeah, like these are the people that said Dungeons and Dragons is satanic or something,
Yeah, and these people say Dungeons and Dragons is sexist and racist.
and apparently, or Doom is satanic, even though you're playing as a Catholic who kills demons.
Yeah, and now that by the way, the crazy thing with the socialist activists is that at the same time, extremely indulgent in violent fantasies, and at the same time, when you look at what politically happens, they take away all the violence out of media. That those two extremes happen at the same time, and they happen from different directions of this whole movement.
Well, what's that whole horseshoe theory? The further you go from where you start, the closer you are to it than you realize.
No, that's just until you realize that more is part of the socialist movement than you think, and there's a lot of controlled opposition happening. Like there are controlled opposition parties in Romania right now that were founded by ex-socialists allegedly, but they want all the same things that the socialists want. They're pro-European and such. In East Germany, where we had the Socialist Unity Party that was always right, according to its own anthem, there were also a few tiny opposition parties. They did exist, but barely anyone dared to vote for them, obviously, and they existed because the Socialist Unity Party was the one actually controlling them. Just so that they could look that it was democratic and that they would catch off any resentful forces, so that those people would think they don't need to start anything themselves because there is already a tiny opposition there, and so you're pacified. That's the trick.
Made to catch dissenters. They were glowies.
Yeah. But there's it not just to lock them away, but also to just give them the feeling, oh, there is already somebody doing the opposition work, so I don't need to do anything but throw a little piece of paper into the magical box.
All right.
And that's how you keep it down. And with the violence, they do the same thing. It's a more complicated topic.
Okay. We're at 30 seconds.
Whatever backlash they thought they would receive, but in the long run. But I think this attitude speaks to a wider problem when it comes to entertainment pretty much across the board, at least in my opinion, which is spite. Basically, they know they're going to upset people, and not only do they not care, in some cases they're actively leaning into it, because they're assuming the backlash will get them attention,
That's
just
what I was
like the
talking
old
about a
"there
minute
is no
ago.
bad publicity" line.
Oh my.
We know everything. Thanks.
And you know nothing. It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. Because she'd have understood.
Something a malpresenting
What?
Time Lord will never understand.
Yo,
I think
What?
this approach to content
What was
creation is a mistake.
Oh, did you not see that?
Holy!
that was
But-
the
You
gender
missed
bent
it?
Doctor Who.
That is insulting.
Yes.
Doctor Who
Yes.
is like a super genius. What the?
It's
Yes,
made to
and-
elicit negative response to get people talking about it.
Yes.
So Parrot Media can come in and pay for a second season.
And David Tennant is all on board with it. He's all on board with the destruction of Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Because it makes
We've seen,
money,
I've seen the
apparently.
behind the scenes conversations.
Oh. All right.
He
well,
got his childhood dream realized, and now he's fine with destroying it,
Yeah,
with
it sounds
destroying
like
the legacy of it.
it's like Mark Hamill there.
Hmm.
Well, Mark Hamill is a washed-up hack who's desperate to have any relevancy, and that's why he runs his mouth on Twitter.
I think he's
There's
just
a-
old and bitter.
And there's a lot of
That
examples
too.
of this kind of marketing backfiring. Ultimately, a lot of this does boil down to politics. For a long time now, there's been an effort to push things like diversity, equity, and inclusion in modern media, both from individual activists and also big companies behind the
really?
scenes.
And the fewest people explain what these words even mean.
DIE didn't earn it.
Yes. This is not a critique of the one making the video here, but most people really don't think about what diversity, equity, and inclusion actually mean. That it means divide and conquer. You will be excluded, and equity is actually anti-human rights and anti-human dignity, because it is it uses the same mechanic that the Nazis used to determine who is worthy to live and who is not, so that from one will be taken to be given to another. This is the same thing, just that they spin the arrow around of who gets taken from and who gets given. It's not about fairness at all. It's all about we, the socialists, will receive, and you, the non-socialists, you will be taken from. That is what it really is.
You exist to serve.
Mm-hmm.
which state as much on their website, but these messages tend to be very heavy-handed, and they often insist that long-existing IPs need to be updated for modern audiences, or even that they have to fix these original properties because they have harmful messages. Everything from Star Wars to the Disney Princess franchise, and in my opinion, oftentimes this criticism just isn't really fair. We made a video defending Disney princesses 5 years ago, and that video is still relevant today, but this attitude has still been persistent in the media, and oftentimes if people question their decisions, they just get really smug. Like the Velma example from the beginning of the video. We also saw this a while back with a creator named Kelly Sue DeConnick, who very infamously said that anyone who doesn't like her
Why do these always look like evil cartoon villains?
Like she's an evil fashion designer or something.
Yeah,
She looks like her father
she
never
looks
came
like
back
a
from camels.
caricature. Red
She
back
looked
in
like-
the day, she looked like a caricature. Sarkeesian looked like a caricature. They all look like caricatures.
They
I don't think these are real people.
they look like they really do look like fucking Saturday morning cartoon villains. Oh my god. Actually, she
doesn't
kind of looks like
just
Edna
shouldn't
Mode
buy her
from
book.
Incredibles.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Okay, I won't.
Problem solved.
I understand having a target
And then
she
audience
cries
in
when
she
mind,
doesn't
and
get
people
sales.
outside of that target
Yeah.
audience might have trouble finding enjoyment in it, but the amount of
Did you see Ziegler's speech when she got an award and she said, "I like movies. I really
Yep.
like movies."
That was pathetic.
When is her
Yeah.
film coming out? I can't remember. Is it this year or next year? Snow White.
I think they cancelled it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna- yeah,
I think they scrapped it.
Yeah, I was gonna say never.
I
They
wonder
they
why.
eventually realized like she's just too bad. This whole project is too bad.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when your main actress or the lead says something to make your marketing work and it fails. Like the opposite effect. That's strange.
Black
smugness and
Ariel
spite
was
does
already
not
bad,
read
but
well.
this
It's like they make projects
Yeah.
with an anti-audience in mind. It's
Yeah.
almost like they're
Yeah,
excited
that is
to
it.
annoy people. So instead of telling a story because they're passionate about it,
you're on point, because they don't make it for people that exist. They make it for people they want to exist. They make it for the new man that we have to be educated and molded into becoming.
And
that's what they mean with educate yourself. Make yourself into the socialist new man.
Yeah, it's also funny how she shows Suicide Squad when it has like maybe, 200 people playing it right now, and everyone went back to play the Arkham trilogy.
Yes, in particular, Arkham Knight.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Yeah, now Arkham Knight's numbers are in the thousands now because of this.
And,
Wow.
and apparently Xbox is making another Batman game with the original.
With the founders, 100 stars. With the original founders that are now 100 stars. Yeah,
100 stars. Thank you. So there is hope. There's a sliver of hope.
Barely anything, but something.
Yeah. I just went back to playing 2 Point Hospital as a palate cleanser after playing through Galactica. That was pitched to me, which is a complete DEI mess. It is written in the most disgusting, brain-rotting way, and it has less mechanics than the game it copies. And it is so bugged, it is so unperformant. The UI is a mess. It is misdesigned. It is buggy as hell, and I cannot comprehend it because that game was developed for 6 years. If you want to give that company money, buy War for the Overworld, but not the new game. The new game is an insult to gaming.
So basically,
Galacticare.
Yeah, it's Theme Hospital, but space and not funny.
So basically, that playthrough is an autopsy.
What?
They're doing it out of spite, and they're hoping that this new audience that will come and support them will also point at laughing the old audience that they chased away. And it's something that we see over and over again. I don't think political themes are inherently the problem here, because you can't have stories with strong political themes that resonate with audiences. It's just that...
Oh, what do you mean with political themes aren't the problem? The political themes in general, or these specific political themes? Because these specific political themes, they are a problem.
I think
because that's not the philosophical aspect of Group A and Group B have different opinions, and we look at the conflict. No, we have to agree with the propaganda that's not just that we're being fed, but that is shoved into our faces.
Wisp, what was that movie about space Nazis that you watched recently?
Iron Sky.
Yeah, that had political themes. And
the political themes of zombie Adolf Hitler on the moon with riding a fucking T-Rex.
No, you're wrong. That is Iron Sky 2, and that movie doesn't exist. They fucked it up. Because Iron Sky 2 is like Highlander 6.
What? Highlander? There's 6. I thought there was only... Okay, never mind. It's a bad...
5. What do I know? I have watched them all.
Really? Oh my!
I forced it through in 1 week, and it just got worse.
I only went as far as Highlander 2 because Highlander 2's main villain is a complete brain dead retard.
I've never even seen a Highlander movie.
Watch the first one, and then watch the series. That's all you need. Maybe the spin-off series if you like it that much. But other than that,
this is what I mean. It's that crass a contrast. It's one of these things where no, the second thing never happened. It's not the thing.
The main argument is
just
not
like
that
PLJ is not a thing. That didn't happen.
Yeah, the issue is not that there's political themes or issues or sides or things you find displeasing. It's that it's shoved down your throat, and it's
or your writing is god awful and it comes across as pretentious.
Beyond the story, instead of just being there to stick it to the audience. For example, Static Shock is very well remembered, and that show dealt with a lot of political themes, like racism, homelessness, and even school shootings, but these topics were handled with a level of nuance, and the stories they tell are grounded. But unfortunately, that's something that's been missing in these activist-driven shows. Most of the time, the characters end up being stereotypes or caricatures.
It's not missing, it's just not designed
for that. Even ones that we're supposed to be rooting for, but that's because they're not as important as the message that they're trying to push. and
then
it just
there's
ends up being
this,
awkward and
which-
falling flat. Doctor Who recently shook things up by having a bi-generational doctor. They brought back David Tennant, probably for nostalgia bait. But anyway, he's now alongside the 15th Doctor, who was the first queer and black Doctor, but the lead up to the series was again
Just
very
random
spiteful
bullshit
and
now.
confrontational.
Nothing makes
There's
sense, there are
already
no
been a lot of
rules.
drama surrounding
Yeah.
Doctor Who, and this is just adding
I mean,
to
Doctor
it.
Who was always
The
kind
immediate-
of weird, but there was a grounding to its weirdness. They kind of embraced the
Oh.
weirdness. Now it's just random bullshit. The show.
Oh, I know what the scene actually means. It is the David Tennant Doctor freeing himself of his black gayness
What?
and casting it aside so that he becomes pure again.
Well,
That is an interpretation I did not think of.
But
You have to think positively.
I was going to say earlier, there is a game that has political themes that does it well. It's called BioShock.
I think any tweet or message that comes across like this is not going to be well received. It doesn't matter if you're talking about black men, white men, women, whatever. This is not what you say. You don't say, sorry, straight white men, Doctor Who was never made for you. Oh, really?
That's what these fucking people do.
I seem to remember
But
black
now
and
you
white.
make so for then the question is, for whom was he made? And the question is now, for whom are you making this? Because you're not making this for everyone. That is obvious. Because the vast majority rejects this. So you make this for yourself, for your tiny group of weirdos
Yeah.
and crazy people
I'm curious,
that are horrible.
just on what we saw so far of this character, what the heck is he wearing? Not to say that Doctor Who people wear anything specific, but it seems to
He's
be...
wearing the gay.
It's like he's in the 70s disco vibe. Like, what is happening?
Like Doctor Who always dressed eccentric, but never like this.
He
Yeah.
looks like a
This is
gay
just
stripper at
lascive, gay garbage.
He looks
Not
like
even-
a gay stripper a bachelorette party would hire.
Yeah, not even Fifth Doctor went this far.
Like that looks like you pick. You
In
look
this
up
picture, he looks like a rapist.
Yeah, you look up a picture of gay stereotype. That would be the picture that comes up.
Everything from the face to the apparel just screams gay.
All right. I missed some super chats. I got to go back and read them. From Frog Jupiter. Hello, sir. Thank you for the super chat. Did you see what they did to Megamind 2? I don't know. What did they do to Megamind 2?
Thankfully, not yet.
Okay.
It's not good.
Are you? Oh no.
Yeah.
So it's another case of there was never a sequel.
Yep.
When did it come out?
God.
I haven't.
You know, I don't even remember what streaming platform it's on. Just don't bother with it.
All right. Anyway. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. Why do they look like caricatures physiognomy? I don't know.
What the fuck is that?
Facial features, the elements that make up what this person is, like an ethnic background element, like say the noses
Okay.
or the eyelids, etc. Yeah, I don't know. Caricatures work for an obvious reason when you don't need a primary or secondary character. You need a tertiary character in the background to pop in, be a store clerk, be a firefighter, be a plumber, whatever. It's like, oh, that's the look. That's why you have it. That's why Italians are like this. That's why the Spaniards are like that. Whatever roles they're in. That's why you have these stereotypes, and they're fine. No one's offended. It's just, oh yeah, I've seen a guy like that down the street, or I've seen this downtown. Great. Everyone makes sense. We understand it. He's a plumber. Boom. Get on with the scene. That's all. That's why we have these characters. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. 4 minutes in. Doing okay.
Post calling out straight white men, which they know is going to get a lot of pushback in this day and age, but that's what rage bait is for. They also made multiple statements about how if you don't like it, then don't watch it, only for the show to premiere with the lowest rating since it first premiered way back in the 60s. They were very adamant about the direction they wanted to go
Well,
in,
we did
even
what they
though
wanted
did
us to
acknowledge
do,
they were
to
getting
not watch it.
backlash for it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Shugi Gadwa, the actor who is playing the 15th Doctor, saying that he wanted to have a fight scene where he twerks a monster.
What?
Oh, what
Yep.
the fuck?
Yep.
maybe
Twerks a monster to death.
what's a death drop?
That's a wrestling thing.
Is it a dance? It's a wrestling. Okay, I thought it was a dancing thing.
Okay, wrestling, dancing, either way, it's gay. But I don't. What the fuck?
You see, this is something when we have like a Buffy episode. It's like, I want a musical episode. It's like, well, maybe not the first season. Maybe 6, 7 when it's really popular and you're out of ideas and we're out of ideas. Maybe we could do that, and then you do it really well and it's well caught on film, well organized, well timed. There's a background reason why people are dancing, and music is like, you need all this backup, you need all this support to do something crazy. This is the same thing in life. If I want to make a burger joint and suddenly I want to sell salads, there better be a darn good reason that my clients want salads after how many years I trust them. They say everyone wants the salad. Like, okay, I'll make you a salad, see how it sells. We test the waters. Salads are working. Okay, I'm now a salad burger joint. Great, whatever. You got to figure this out. What filter, what editor, what person going, wait, maybe you shouldn't do this to the longest running UK sci-fi ever. Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Twerk a monster to death? I'm sorry,
I'm still scarred by turning red.
I'm still trying to make sense of why anyone would want that.
This is interesting. I'm
Well,
curious.
normal people don't want that, and Doctor Who fans don't want that, but sex-obsessed, forever juvenile gay people want that.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of story behind this reasoning, and it can't just be an interview thing. There has to be like, well, I was watching Doctor Who in my childhood, and it's so whatever. I wish it had something like a Judy Garland scene, or it had some sort of element of brevity, or I don't know, something to make it happier. I was like, okay, fair enough. That's where you're coming from. We understand where you're coming from, but not this.
Does the monster die if its heart rate gets too high? So making it dance would make its heart rate accelerate? What?
You see, when they have cool ideas, because Doctor Who is essentially a horror story with science fiction elements and British humor and a bunch of other things, but it's mostly a horror story. So if this was
in
a way,
the first few seasons, it was a tiny bit educational too.
from what I remember, it was really droll. It was really straightforward and mystery.
It had historical episodes.
Oh yeah, no, I remember watching them. They were strange. Like I was a kid, I was like, "What am I watching?" I had to pay attention and watch it a second time just to see what the hell, because I had no idea, and I was just a kid. But essentially, it's there to be a mystery, and they didn't have much production value back in the day, so it was like a murder mystery almost. But they didn't have the writing to back that up, so they were doing what they could. And now it's just this weird everything show. Time traveling is really barely even a part of it. So to have this is not impossible. You could pull it off because Doctor Who is huge. But you've got to build that up. You've got to go to a planet where like dance is a thing and monsters are invading and there's some sort of science behind the dance. You have to get the choreography. Like
Smart, don't write it for them.
Well, it's like the episode of Evangelion, right? It's so silly. You're like, okay, choreographed mechs doing backflips. You're like, what?
I'm reading this. Apparently, they just wanted to write in on the success of the Barbie movie with Ryan Gosling. I'm just Ken.
Their inspiration is fine.
Yeah, but he doesn't understand why that was received well.
Yeah, you see,
The whole point of
it wasn't received well because of the dancing.
See, that's fine. If he wants to be inspired by whatever, that's great. I don't care. Whatever your inspiration, whatever your idea is, I really, really don't care, because any idea could work if it's executed properly within the right context and build up and setting and all that jazz that a writer needs to do beforehand to make it work in a production like a TV show, which is way more complex but more attainable than, let's say, a stage production or a live action thing where you have no setup, you have just props, or sometimes you have no props at all. You're just miming everything. So stuff like this can be done with CGI and all kinds of practical effects and with a big budget. Sure, go for it. Hire a dance instructor and have them figure out who can dance and who can't, and go from there.
Give a reason as to why you're doing this. Actually build up to it. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, it would have to be like a 2-part episode or something. It would be a big production. Like the Buffy episode was so bizarre. Like, wow, you had to watch it just to wrap your brain around what the hell is going on. And then at the end of the day, it's like, that was very well done. They put a lot of effort to that. They thought it through, even though the show is silly. So it's fine if you do it right. Like, all these ideas are fine. Just get the execution right, get the setting right, and the reasoning why things are happening in this bizarre scenario.
I think that the issue here is the same as is apparent in the Shogun and the new Shogun show. And that is that none of the scenes seem to be kind of interconnected. Everything just happens because there's a scene that needs to happen.
I see.
Nothing else.
Yeah, it's weird because is he a villain? Is he a hero? Oh, he's part of the people who killed your family. Now you're siding with them, and you're like, whoa, what? That was quick. That was a story all by itself in the span of 30 seconds. So I've been waiting for a Japanese Assassin's Creed, and this is not how I expected it would go.
I'm just not going to support it because it's a modern Ubisoft title, and I'm fully expecting it to be a grind-happy slog that wants you to buy XP boosters. But now with a black guy.
This comes up as I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2 as we speak.
Oh, that's
because fuck the new game.
You know what? Maybe it'll be good.
It
won't.
You don't need an excuse to play.
Definitely won't.
To play too. You just pop that in. It's always great.
But on the slim chance that it's actually good and actually goes by the principles of the old Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games, I'll buy it when it's cheap.
The last one in the old style was Syndicate, and even that one had some issues, but still.
I know Mirage went back to the old style, but that's a spin-off. It was supposed to be a DLC.
There's spin-offs, but I think Mirage is main series. There's very few spin-offs in Assassin's Creed.
All I know is it was supposed to be a DLC to Valhalla. And it's
basically, but then they reworked it to I think take place later a while longer after Valhalla and make it its own game.
And it's in Baghdad, and you're still playing as the guy from Valhalla. I don't know.
Yeah, basically they may had it take place a decent while, much more after than it was originally intended to.
All right, here we go.
But but I was gonna say that's a series that on several occasions did make changes and justified them. Like the whole thing, the whole thing with the finger in Assassin's Creed 1, you had to cut off the ring finger for the hidden blade to work. They retconned it in 2 as Altair having changed the design between games.
Yeah.
So that no one has to cut off their damn finger again because the Templars are going to pay attention to that.
I think Da Vinci was the one that.
The fact that was started by accident because Arno's an idiot.
Well,
no. Arno was Unity. That was way after Altair.
It was a joke that Da Vinci made. I could change that design, no problem. It's like, okay, great.
Altair was the one that changed it. That was in the codex page that Da Vinci deciphered.
Oh, really?
I thought the whole sacrificing their fingers started because some dumbass cut his finger off by accident.
Yeah, because, I think that was Bayek in Origins.
Either way.
I think that's the reason. And then it took until Altair became Master Assassin during his time that he used the Piece of Eden to change the design.
Wow, that's a very unnecessary retcon, but either way. Okay.
Well, because the logic broke through, because the Templars are going to pay attention. It's like anyone with that ringer cut off is most likely an assassin. So Altair changed the design to make sure that doesn't happen.
All right. Let's keep going. Here's the thread knot. Oh, hello, sir. Thank you. Sorry, English. England was never meant for your kind to live in. We're winning. Socialist salute. I thought you were going to say Johnny English, but okay. English it is.
George Orwell wrote about exactly that in Notes on Nationalism, which he published, I think, shortly after the war. It was before he wrote 1984. You can read. It's an essay. You can read it for free on the website of the Orwell Foundation, orwellfoundation.com.
Cool.
Please read George Orwell's works.
All right, that's always a good idea.
And the reason Threadnought changed Johnny to English is because he's English. I don't hold that against him, but he is English.
Nothing to do with the Rowan Atkinson film. That's okay.
character to death? That would certainly be a choice. It just comes off like a big spectacle, instead of taking the story more seriously.
Okay.
And you know how sci-fi nerds are. I say that with love, I'm one of them. This isn't even the first time they're talking about LGBT themes on the show. Back in 2005, they introduced a character named Captain Jack Harkness, who was openly bisexual and played by an openly gay actor.
And annoying.
And that character was so popular, he got his own spin-off series called Torchwood. It kind of comes off like when Disney...
Yeah, he was popular with the women. Because
Yeah.
women like gay men because they like to imagine homosexual men having sex. Why? The same reason that men like to imagine two women having sex, because that's more of the thing that they like.
It's like, oh look, a piece of chocolate. Oh
it's
wow, another piece of chocolate. Two
although-
things that I really like.
I was gonna say you could say it's like a doubling down of it,
Basically.
kinda,
Yeah.
sorta.
Yeah, and Torchwood was... it had its moments.
It was mostly comedy, I thought, as opposed to horror.
The scene, the episode with Death, that was a good one. But other than that, nothing. I remember nothing that actually stood out as good and rememberable.
Introducing the first gay character, and they did it like 7 times. Just saying.
Yeah.
The last show I want to talk about is a show called Mr. Bircham. This show is from the Daily Wire, which makes conservative content. They feel very strongly that the media has been too left-leaning, so they decided
True.
to make their own show but with the politics that they wanted to see.
I'm a vegan.
At least the intention is in the right
And they
direction.
came out of the
That
gate
joke was a
insisting
little
that they were
funny.
going to be as offensive as possible, and how originally this show was pitched decades ago, but no one wanted to pick it up because it would be too offensive to the...
I would always watch a show with cartoon Ron Swanson,
Okay,
Basically.
because that is cartoon Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this about Mr. Bircham. It comes across as a left-wing satire of conservatism. Like you would get 1 or 2 seasons on Comedy Central. Because
And-
this is the very principles of conservatism, of, family values. Bircham's an abusive asshole to his family.
Unlike Ron Swanson.
The Daily Wire loves to be offensive to those people, so they were going to do it. Again, they come off as
those
being
people
extremely
deserve it.
spiteful and more concerned with their anti-audience than their actual audience. The guy behind this show apparently worked on shows like Drawn Together and
Which
The
is
Man
actually
Show,
funny.
so I was initially
Yep.
expecting this show to be pretty edgy, but in the end, the only thing offensive about it was how unfunny it was. This was probably
It's
the
safe
tamest
edgy.
adult show I've ever seen, but it was definitely cringe. This show is less South Park and more old man yells at cloud meme. It follows Mr. Bircham, who's basically a self-insert of the creator. He's even voiced by him. This show ends up making the
Oh, so he wishes he was Ron Swanson.
Oh, so
Basically.
Adam did. Oh, see, when I saw that, I thought that's pretty much the same guy that we want from Parks and Rec, but they didn't get him. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
not to say Adam Carroll's not funny, but that's not who I want.
Yeah. And to Jimmy Walkless in the chat. Yes, Ron Swanson was the only good part in Parks and Recreation. The rest is dismal and just soul-crushingly unfunny and cringeworthy. And no, I was not filling my own product. I am not George Orwell.
No. On a quick note, whenever I see anything of John Taylor, I am always reminded of the fact that there was a little cameo by literally Scorpion from Mortal Kombat Deception in one episode. I'm not kidding. Specifically Deception. I don't know why.
I guess he would kind of fit for like maybe a few seconds, but not as a regular.
The joke is that one of the regulars is a video game character. That's partially why that happened.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't think a murdering demon would fit in well, but it might for a few laughs, and then he's gone.
I mean, it was a funny scene. I'll give him that.
Yeah, good enough.
the same mistakes that Velma did, but at least it's an original property. That has to count for something. So on top of being overly spiteful in the marketing, this show is also another cringy self-insert fest.
Yep.
The same total lack of self-awareness, not having an actual fleshed out character with strengths and flaws, and just reveling in your own wish fulfillment. He even hired his crush to play his animated wife, and there's a scene where the character rants at a podium and everybody stands and claps. All the kids who hated him previously all of a sudden love him just out of nowhere. Meanwhile, his rival, this man-bun straw man for the left, is more times than not actually in the right. I'm not sure how they managed to mess this up. In the first episode,
Because
Mr.
it was never
Bircham
meant
forces
to
his
appeal
class
to
to come to his
conservatives.
house
Daily
on the
Wire is out of
weekend
touch.
and tells them all to
What?
not tell their parents, which is a huge red flag. He makes them work on his deck, and for some reason, the only person concerned about this is the left-leaning straw man. And then the second episode, the teachers ditch because it's Veterans Day, which makes no sense because they should have the day off at a public school.
Not
Veterans Day is a
necessarily.
federal holiday. Again,
No,
the only
Memorial
person who's
Day is a
concerned
federal
about
holiday.
this is the left-leaning straw man. It's like how in Velma, Fred ended up being the best character even though you weren't supposed to like him, but he was the only one that actually had a character arc, and you can't help but feel sorry for him considering all the child abuse. And in this show, the man bun guy ends up being the only character with common sense, despite the fact that he's supposed to be considered unreasonable. Literally the only thing I liked about this show was that Bircham has a Stanley thermos, like the original one. That is so on brand. Shows like Mr. Bircham or Velma weren't created to entertain people first and foremost. They were created to entertain the people who made them. So they
Megyn
could make fun
Kelly.
of people they don't like, and pat
Yeah.
themselves on the back for being smarter and better than everybody else. And that spite really shows through in the writing. And it's not
Okay, so this is nothing more than a bunch of people who have a lot of money and they don't know what they're doing.
Basically.
Yes.
So it was supposed it comes across as the right wing version of
Hollywood.
The problem is it comes across as a more mocking satire of conservatism. I really don't think this was the show they think it was. I really don't think this was the show the Daily Wire thinks it is. The Daily Wire is really out of touch.
Yeah.
This is so easy to make comedy out of what we see in the past 15 years would be you just copy and paste. This person is ranting outside a university about, I don't know, same-sex bathrooms or something. It's like, just write that, copy paste, get an actress.
South Park does it, and it's funny.
Yeah. Simple, basic stuff.
Well, South Park works because they make fun of fucking everyone.
South Park works because they do not hold back against themselves.
Exactly. In fact, there's episodes of South Park that point out that Simpsons already did it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here's another super chat from Mr. Threadnought. Thank you, sir. It wouldn't let me put people after English when I tried translating the headline because Google hates the English. What?
He's referring to his previous super chat, yeah.
Yeah, that's sorry, people. England was never meant. Oh, that's weird. Who knows?
England was never meant for your kind to live in.
favors.
I'm a heteronormative, cisgendered white male. For which I apologize.
Mr. Bircham often gets compared to Hank Hill from King of the Hill, another show that's told from a conservative perspective, but that show is basically everything that this show wishes it was. Hank isn't obnoxious or unlikable, and he's actually pretty nuanced, something this show is desperately missing, and it's bombing in the ratings.
Oh, and King of the
well
Hill is
deserved.
actually funny.
Even conservatives are saying that it sucks. You're better off just watching King of the Hill, maybe even All in the Family if you're actually looking for something edgy. And that show was from 50 years ago. It's just really frustrating and kind of sad to see all this spite in the media. They had the opportunity to make great shows that entertain the audience, while also saying something meaningful, but instead they choose to do this. There's not really much passion here. It's mostly just pointing fingers. Criticism can get frustrating, but maybe you shouldn't feed the trolls, and instead focus on meaningful stories that would resonate with people. I can only hope we'll see a shift away from this kind of content. I think it would be best, but that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think spite is harming the current landscape of media? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.
I don't know.
We'll see that change when we fight for it.
I don't know about Bertram. That sounds like some stupid pet project that no one thought through and
basically
got a good writer to make this thing work. There's lots of ways to get comedic writers. That's clearly not their strong point.
Like Galacticare.
I mean, we see this in other shows like Modern Family Guy is made just to be spiteful. How I own that one random guy who criticized me on Twitter
Yeah, I don't think a news, like, it is a media company, but it's essentially a news organization where they got a bunch of people who know how to argue, essentially. That's what their whole job is, to argue headlines and go around on university campuses and talk to kids and argue with them. That's easy peasy stuff. Anyone who with an understanding of the times can do that, because kids don't know much. So making a transition to media, didn't they also do a thing with they did a Western with who's that lady from
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano got fired. Yeah, they made a Western film with her. I don't even know if that's good or what they did.
I've never even heard of this until now.
Yeah, they hired her for whatever. They wanted her on the team. The same way they hired Jordan Peterson, but Jordan Peterson just does his own thing anyway, and they just stick their label on his content. So
I think he has some restraints on, and that annoys me.
It's strange. Like, you can make the transition from news organization to media company. It is possible. I don't think it's, especially nowadays, it's not hard. But if this is what they're producing, like, all you gotta do is get, who's the actor who plays Ron Swanson again?
I actually don't know.
I forgot his name. It's on tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Like, get him. He's a funny guy. Get Adam Carolla in the same room and say, okay, what works and why? Because Adam is pretty funny. He knows why things don't work. So if he was one of the writers, something's wrong.
I think he's played by Nick Offerman.
Yes, that's his name, Nick. Right. He could do a great job. He's done many things in his life. I'm sure he'll be just fine working for any other company. It would work. It looks like him. He has a class where he's working with wood. It's like, yeah, this is what he does as a living. He'll be fine. But it seems as if they took that character and they just screwed him up. They didn't know what to do.
They could have made this about a show about a woodshop teacher teaching kids it's okay to work with your hands and make cool shit, and just make them down-to-earth guys, a little rough around the edges. That would have been the smart thing to do. Instead of making him a self-insert or whatever the hell he is, or a satire, I don't know.
Well, either way, I don't think the underlying feature of these things that we're watching, because they showed left and the right-leaning people writing these bad animations, is anger per se, or hatred per se. It's frustration, I would say. They're so confused and unsure why people don't think the same way they do. And they got to get this anger out creatively. They're getting paid for it, obviously, so it's part of their job. And they make this crap because it's their motivation. It's not because we want to make a funny product or an entertaining product or a dramatic product or with a message to say. It's just, this is what I believe, and I'm frustrated by no one else thinking my same way. Here it is. And we get crap animation, crap drawings, bad stories, bad characters. And maybe there might be a few good scenes here and there, because there is actually some comedy that has to appeal to someone out there. But this is, I don't think it's spite. I can't run my entire creative energies off spite. It doesn't work too well. Anger, maybe. I'm so frustrated. Oh, I gotta.
That's because you're not evil.
I must crush them between my fingers. Let me make animation.
Remember how Whisp at one point said that all these people look like caricatures? I think there's something to that, and in a way, there might be a case of some of those people being kind of pushed through to make this, you could say, shit entertainment to prove some kind of point by someone higher up.
It's curious to look at this stuff, because I honestly believe that show would have worked. I didn't even know it existed till now, if they just wrote properly, which implies that these people who, I think they mean well, they wanted to satirize the existing political landscape, and they just ended up doing the opposite, making fun of themselves, which is not sure how you do that.
But counterproductive.
I mean, it's called sucking at your job.
It's a hard thing. Like, when you want to do the best job possible, and you think you have everything in the bag, and you do the opposite, there's really something wrong going. And we can guess the people on the left who are deluded and frustrated make stuff because that's all they can do. And this is what I need to do, and no one believes me, and this is it. Whereas the guys on the right are like, listen, people are nuts right now. We got to give them some levity. We got to make them laugh. And we've experienced it for the past 8 years in our company. Let's hire a writer, have them write that out, and just go with it, because there's plenty of material every week. Sometimes in Canada, every other day, we got some crazy person saying something on campuses or wanting to jump off a bridge or whatever.
They've done that for 70 years. They just didn't have Twitter.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be that hard, sadly. Either way, yeah, it's a sad thing to see, blowing away all that cash that they've saved up all these years. I haven't seen the Gina Carano Western yet. So either way, guys, hire the writer. Hire the good writers. And whatever you want to do, they will set you straight. And maybe the producer will listen. And you can make whatever you want. You can even make your left-leaning diatribe about trans people go right ahead. A good writer will know how to make that work. So,
oh, you need an exceptional writer.
It's possible.
Because Neil Gaiman couldn't.
Well, okay. As I said before with Harlan Ellison, there is a story about a gay Jesus Christ, and it's very good. So you can...
I think that's easier.
Well, it's not the easiest thing to write, but it, for a guy who doesn't like religious folk, he did a very good job. So, anyway, read Deathbird stories. What would you recommend, Wisp? What was that
what?
The website that you recommended?
Oh, the Orwell Foundation.
Orwell Foundation, exactly. Thank you, sir. That is exactly what you guys should be checking out. Once a year, in case you're forgetting that quote or you're forgetting what he was said. Orwell always has a good look on political meanings, no matter what time period you're in.
Christopher Hitchens had written a wonderful book once called Why Orwell Matters. Doesn't mean you need to read it, but
yeah,
Orwell matters.
Anyway, I think that's it. That was a quick video. Very, very well done. Very well, obviously not monetized because there's so many clips. Copyright drove her nuts, but I don't think she's doing it for the money. So good for her.
Yeah, but she figured out the pattern. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good that more people do this.
It's at least a good start. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. That was a relaxing Saturday.
Only a handful of memes, not much, but
we got
something.
memes.
We got memes.
I didn't
Only
we got memes.
Only a
actual
few,
memes.
Only a few, not too many.
Not just messages disguised as memes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pictures. Yeah. Start. But anyway,
could be memes. We don't know yet. All right.
Starting with Dark Seraph.
This meme is not available in your country. Oh.
And it's the leaf.
But that could be Germany.
I just think that's funny.
Yeah. This is pretty much what we're going through with social media in Canada nowadays.
Yeah, the EU is currently discussing whether they want to ban you from posting images and links if you do not identify yourself on the web. To fight the child porn.
That's dumb.
So this is
it's of course it's an excuse because they don't actually do anything against pedophiles.
This is one of those wonderful interviews. Was this the movie interview he did on the red carpet? I can't remember. Norm Macdonald.
I don't remember.
Was it the Facebook movie? I can't remember exactly. Yeah.
I think. No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
I never saw the Facebook movie. I have no interest in Mark Zuckerberg.
It might have been for that. I just don't remember.
Okay,
he has a lot of interest in you.
This is leftists really choose one of these as their entire personality. F.A. fatherless.
And then you put yeah.
F.A. schist and F.A. got.
F.A. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Well, there is clearly a least bad choice.
I guess.
At least with one of these, you can deal with it.
All right, this is really cute.
The problem is with one of these leads will always lead to one of the other two.
I guess.
All man yells at clown.
Yeah.
I don't know who made that, but I love it.
Yeah, the style is perfect.
Yeah, this one's going in the history books.
All right, legacy, leftists. Sex and sexuality are things that shouldn't be shamed and suppressed. Sexualizing characters is bad, and the gamers and companies who do so are porn addicts.
That's called doublethink.
Yep.
Very important concept to make the ideologue. And it is always that true which helps you in the moment to advance the ideology.
Well,
Yes.
okay.
That's not objective.
Anyway, I was about to say that was a fine video and very relaxing, not too long, and showed good examples of both the left and the right screwing up how to do cartoons, at least comedy cartoons. So modern cartoons that are designed to make you laugh when they have a political back-leaning or backbone. I'm sure we'll get...
I mean, with that, we saw one clip of Bertram that was mildly amusing. That's well, actually, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
And then vegan. Like that was a little funny.
See, simple jokes work. Very basic, obvious ones that could be turned into a cartoon, or it can exist as a newspaper strip would work. So.
I mean, that seems like it could work as a cutaway gag in like Family Guides, like when they're trying to make fun of vegans, like animals eat other animals. No, they don't. Look at nature, and then just play that clip.
or mice eating each. Yeah, no, there's plenty of examples. Anyway,
chimpanzees.
I'd be happy covering another of her videos. I think she does a good job. So keep them coming.
Yep.
Thank you guys for all the super chats, and enjoy the weather, whatever you are in the world. I think it's been raining for most people past week. So try to stay indoors if that's the case. Have a siesta if it's really that hot, and make sure your basements are waterproof. I don't know, whatever you do. So,
well, luckily I don't have a basement, so we're all good.
Oh, perfect. There we go. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful